Somebody has posed the following question to me. Chris, President Ruto, in his press conference, or when he met the media recently and spoke to the nation, answering questions, confessed that he fired George Kinoti, the immediate former head of the DCI. Now, Chris, you'll be aware that the very same Ruto, President Ruto, told us that George Kinoti had resigned, that Bwana Kinoti had written a resignation letter to President Ruto, and President Ruto had accepted his resignation. He gave us the impression that it was George Kinoti who decided to leave DCI. Now he's telling us, after that information he gave us earlier, which is now obviously a lie, if we are to believe the latest he has told us, which is that he fired Kinoti. Chris, what do you think? Because this is very disturbing to me, and I'm sure to many Kenyans. My answer? I too am very disturbed. Because if you live in a country where the president tells you something that is not true, and that president himself confirms later, or rather confesses later, that what he had told you earlier was not true, that is very disturbing. Because the president is the most powerful person in the nation. The president is supposed to be a figure of national unity. Now, what is coming out is that the president did not like George Kinoti. And this should not surprise anybody. We know what happened, especially in the last few months before the elections. It was George Kinoti who was dealing with the case of the Venezuelans. You remember the Venezuelans who were found with election material? It was this same George Kinoti dealing with them. It was this same George Kinoti who went to the then deputy president's office. At that time William Ruto was Uhuru Kenyatta's deputy, and made inquiries over the mysterious sudden death of an administration policeman at the deputy president's office, Bwana Kenei. You remember the Kenei case? And DP Ruto handlers at that time were not amused. They felt that Kinoti stepped over the line in his investigations. He did not respect the office of the deputy president. He did not respect the deputy president. Now, of course, here is a thin line, because Bwana Kinoti was doing his job. His job was to do everything in his power to find the killers of Kenei, because Kenei had a family. He had parents. He had those who were close to him. He had those who loved him. For his young life to be snuffed out just like that is a matter of concern. And Kinoti was doing his job. If a police officer or a lead investigator goes overboard in investigating a murder, in my humble opinion, it is excusable. They're doing their job. And there's absolutely no doubt that George Kinoti, a career investigator, was very good at his job. In the opinion of many who know, it was a stroke of genius by President Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint Kinoti head of DCI, somebody who cannot be corrupted, somebody who cannot get into shady deals like his predecessors did, under the then CID, Criminal Investigations Department. The directors of CID, the past directors, some of them got very rich within a very short time. Many of them were involved in dodgy deals. Kinoti? Never ever. But his problem was, he did not respect some people. Oh boy. Now, in my opinion, if you're the head of state, if you're a leader, very senior leader in a country, you don't need to like everybody who you have appointed to key positions. You don't need to like everybody who is appointed, maybe by others, to key positions, like Bwana Kinoti. All you need to acknowledge is the ability of that person to get the job done. If they're good at their job, why fire them? Why get rid of them? It'll make you feel nice as an individual, but what will it do to the country? And indeed, the firing of Kinoti has had serious consequences. People are complaining about escalating crime. And even as people are busy exposing the police for police excesses, and I'm not excusing them, but even as people are busy doing that, Kenyans are terrified of criminals. Things are getting out of hand, which is very sad. Seriously, if somebody is good at their job, you don't need to like them if you're president of the country. You don't need to be in love with anybody, as long as they're very good at their job and they're doing their job. That should be common sense. But you see, when emotions come into play, you're a leader in any capacity, and you lead with emotions. I don't like that guy, he must go. Or I like that guy, appoint him. He's not very qualified, but he'll catch up on the post. And there's so many other qualified Kenyans who are capable. But just because you don't like them, you'll never appoint them. Does that really help the country? Or it helps your ego? You tell me, guys, because it is sad. Indeed, I'm not surprised that so many Kenyans have been greatly disturbed by this latest revelation from President Ruto, that indeed it was he who fired Kinoti. And the way he did it is that he asked Kinoti to present his resignation. Now, you're just a DCI boss, and the President of the Republic of Kenya comes to you and tells you you must resign. Even though your office has security of tenure, your options are limited, because you can't fight such a powerful person, such a powerful individual. You're not even a politician. You are an investigator. You can't. So that's how it was done. And it is so sad that such great talent, such capable hands would be dismissed only because somebody doesn't like them. Oh God Almighty, help Kenya. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.